Hello everyone, this is Finali Mondiali 2025. We're live from Mugello and we have qualifying for the Finali Mondiali race about to get underway for our Copa Shell AM drivers from whatever region they have raced. All of the championships are done and dusted. Our formal welcome to Mugello. Right now, the import is on the best possible qualifying position, the best possible grid position for the critical world final race. I say critical, it's the last title that can be gained in the Ferrari Challenge in any given competitive year. And it's the one that attracts an awful lot of prestige. I've always said for the, 14, 15 years I've been involved in this championship, it's the gold roof race. It's a one-off race, points mean nothing. It's all about who can win the race and who can take that gold roof. 5.245 kilometers, and there you have some 15 turns to contend with here at the Mugello Circuit, a very technical circuit, where the start-finish straight has two steep elevation changes, or relatively steep elevation changes, as the car will take you around the topography of the Tuscan countryside. Here are the 30 cars that will contest this qualifying. Stephen Earle, Paolo Scudieri, Boris Gideon, Andreas Koenig, Norikatsu Shibata, Hassan Debussy, Henrik Kamstrup, Nasaru Yaneda, Shintaro Akatsu, Louis Peruskia. Deep breath. Guy Favre, Yasuhito Fukai, Charles Chan, Alex Fox, Pino Frascaro, Alvaro Ramos, Fritz Muller, Andrea Levy, Sven Schirmer, champion in Europe, Maurizio Pittori, Jan Sandman, Alexei Komarov, Gabe Harib, Michael Owens, Melissa Kozira, two times a winner here this weekend, David Williams, Tom Petramalo, Stephanie Herfield, Matthew Herfield, Louis Flory. And that contains 30 really, really talented drivers. Alongside me is my colleague Nico Spalek. Finali Mondiali, I mean, unless you're here, unless you experience it, we try and bring the color of this extraordinary event to life for all of you at home, and we're thrilled that you're watching. But to be here is something very, very special, isn't it?
It is an amazing feeling. Good morning, everybody. It is a plethora of attractions all over the paddock, and the Ferrari Challenge is but one part of that, with the XX programs, the F1 Clienti, the Ferrari show that will crown this event tomorrow. And I mean, it's such a vibrant paddock. So many people from all over the world.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I mean, we will obviously focus on the racing action, but there is so much more. As you can see, 2 minutes to go before this session will get underway.
The Ferrari show, of which you mentioned, comes up tomorrow after the Finali Mondiali races, if you like, after the Gold Roof races. And, you know, even in the privileged position that we are as broadcasters, we know not what is going to happen. Here is Gabe Harib. I was talking about Gabe just a few moments ago, finished P2 in the championship in North America. And literally 10 minutes ago, I was speaking to him in his garage, and he was saying, you know, first year I came into it, it was an exploratory year. He said this year I really wanted to seal the championship, and he came so close to it, taking a very, very creditable P2, and only his second year in the Ferrari Challenge in North America. He should be very proud of that.
Oh, 100%, and it was, he had a spin at the end of the race yesterday, the final race, and
yeah.
he was spinning in an overtake, in an attempt to overtake for the championship effectively, because if he'd made the overtake, he would have been champion. And, you know, fair play for pushing. There is Sven Schirmer, who did become champion yesterday.
Yes, he is the European champion, Sven Schirmer. Yeah, the Penske Sportwagen Hamburg driver, who's had a phenomenal season and big battle in the season with Jan Sandman, but eventually Sven Schirmer was able to seal the deal and take the championship in Europe. Ferrari Challenge exists not only in Europe, but in North America, in Japan, in the UK, in Australasia region, and from 2026 in the Middle East as well. It's truly a global one-make championship, which is why, I mean, to be able to race with this wonderful Prancing Horse brand almost anywhere in the world, what an opportunity.
Oh, amazing. And, you know, if Suzuka, Laguna Seca, Silverstone, Le Mans, if that doesn't mean anything to you, then I think you're in the wrong sport. I mean, just the places that the challenge goes to across all the different regions and all the characters that we are privileged to meet and watch racing, but it's not only the racing, but it's everything that's around it. I mean, just brilliant atmosphere and culture.
And to finish what I was saying about the Ferrari show, which you alluded to, which comes up after the Finali Mondiali races, which we are qualifying for right now. Even you and I, in a privileged position that we are, we know not what's coming in the Ferrari show. It's always a big surprise. And the one thing, and I will say this tonight, where I have the honor of being part of the presentation team for the big championship award ceremony and gala dinner, which I've tried to describe to people, it's like the biggest record industry do that you could ever go to. It's a massive production. What can you say about Ferrari other than expect the unexpected? And that might apply to this qualifying session as well. We're riding on board with the European champion Sven Schirmer. It'll be a couple of minutes really before we see a meaningful lap time put on the board. Track conditions are wet. There's been rain overnight. There's more rain expected during the course of the day. I can't imagine anyone is out on that track on anything other than wet weather tyres. Yes, who is going to set pole position for the world final race, the Finali Mondiali? You would be a brave man to bet against the car of Sven Schirmer and the driving combination with that car, because they have been formidable this season. And Sven Schirmer, now the pressure of the championship is off his back, he can just kind of relax and, you know, you're a racing driver, you don't relax, but he can go into this knowing that he's done everything that he needed to do.
Indeed, he has one title already, and he will get his trophy tonight in the Gala Dinner Awards. One driver that has been part of the championship for many years is Paolo Scudieri, and we pick up him as well as Pino Frascaro in the foreground. I mean, so many great names who have had their share of success. Sven Schirmer certainly has done it in Europe. Jan Salmon, he was the only driver who is in this field who was on the podium last year, finished P2 in the Shell Am World Final race. He would certainly, after
well remembered,
very barely missing out on the title in Europe,
yeah,
and by virtue of being P2 last year, missing out on the top step of the podium last year, he's going to be one to reckon with. And thanks, guys, for picking up Jan Salmon as he goes on his first quick lap, and you can see how damp the track still is.
Now, with him having taken P2 in the Drivers' Championship this year in Shell Am, losing out to Sven Schirmer, which we've already talked about, this is the opportunity for Jan Salmon to take a big glittering prize out of this season, and he will go hell for leather, if I may be allowed to use the vernacular, in terms of trying to master everything. And he will want a front row start. He will want pole position, and Jan Salmon will absolutely give it everything to so do.
Oh, 100%. Just do justice to our Shell Am champion from last year, Eric Chung, unfortunately not on the track here. He won the title in the World Final last year. So, Eric, wherever you are, miss you. Hope to see you again next season. Jan Salmon, as we said, P2. He had the pace. I think if you look at the point score in Europe over the second half of the season, he actually outscored Sven Schirmer by a few points. So he will feel confidence in the pace and the speed that he has, together with his team Kessel Racing. And we obviously follow the European Championship more than we follow the others on a regular basis, simply by dint of overlaps and clashes, etc. Let's not think this is an all-European one. I mean, our North American competitors, our drivers from all over the world, they're mighty quick, and it's going to be really interesting how things develop. Traffic also is going to play a big part. We've got 30 entries into this session.
We have drivers from Japan in this qualifying session. We have drivers from North America, as you rightly say. And yeah, the likes of just Melissa Kozira, who has taken 2 wins out of 2 race starts this weekend here in Mugello, will feel very confident in qualifying. Michael Owens, Ferrari of Alberta, not one to bet against, but the first meaningful lap time has been put on the board, and it comes from Sven Schirmer at 2:12.233. Now, don't read too much into that, but here comes Jan Salmon now, who will cross the timing line, goes 3rd fastest. So the times on the left-hand side, or the leaderboard on the left-hand side of your screen, right in the middle of that picture is Charlie Hollings, to the right-hand side of the picture right now, who is Jan Salmon's driver coach. He will be advising Jan But the order is Sven Schirmer from Norikatsu, Shibata, Jan Sandman, Andrea Levy, Shintaro Akatsu, Melissa Kozira, Maurizio Pittori, Paolo Scudieri, Boris Gideon, Henrik Kamstrup, Hassan Debussy. Those are the drivers some 13 drivers that have put a time on the board already, and Pino Frascara is another one of those drivers who is added to this list, as is Alvaro Ramos from Portugal. Sven Schirmer now, as I suggested, would try and go a bit quicker, because you're finding where the grip is on this track, and you can see by dint of the purple bar on Sector 1 that he's gone quicker than anyone through Sector 1, Sven Schirmer right now, so expecting an improvement on his 2:12.233 time. Let's see what he can do as he runs across the rumble strips of the curbing here. And we look for the cumulative time once he crosses the Sector 2 line. And he is on a trajectory of improvement already in just Sector 1 and Sector 2. He's gone very nearly a second quicker.
Absolutely, and normally at this stage we would say, well, you know, times will evolve, especially early morning hour, lots of moisture on the track, it will get quicker throughout, but A, with traffic, and B, with the ever-present threat of a few more raindrops falling down, you never know how this track will actually evolve, so this actually might be the time in this session which will afford the quickest lap times. It's really unpredictable because it's overcast so much.
And we always talk about bankers. Put a lap in early on because you don't know how the conditions are going to alter. And by banking a lap, as Sven Schirmer has done now with a lap time that's 1.2 seconds quicker than his previous best at 2:10.971. He's a full 3.795 seconds quicker than Fritz Muller. Make that Norikatsu Shibata, who now goes second fastest. But whatever happens, Sven Schirmer has put in a decent lap time.
Yes, indeed, and there we pick him up, our European champion in this category. One of his strengths this season has been the consistency. He's always been there or thereabouts throughout the entirety of the season. I dare say, and I mean this with all due respect, we briefly saw Andreas Koenig, who has had his absolute highs this season. He's going to be the first to admit he's also had his absolute lows this season. Some his fault, and he said that. Some not his fault, but he would certainly want to crown the season or get a reprieve on what wasn't perfect point scoring this season. He would certainly want to do well here. We pick up
Melissa Kozira for Ferrari of Naples, who, as I mentioned earlier on, has done 2 victories already here at Mugello this weekend. Melissa Kozira and her husband Bill, they are a formidable combination, if in voice, because Bill Gernhoff shouts some enthusiasm and he's so proud of Melissa. I spoke to them last night after their second victory in the Copa Am race in North America. But clearly it was here in Europe because it took place here, and this is where all the North American competitors have rounded out their 2025 championship here as part of Finali Mondiali. So Melissa Kozira, 2 victories in 2 races. I first met Melissa when she was driving in the Club Challenge, which is kind of like a feeder into Ferrari Challenge, where you're not racing competitively, but you are putting competitive times on the board, and you're kind of up against yourself in trying always to improve. It's a regular feature of Ferrari Challenge weekends, Club Challenge. That's where as I say, I first met Melissa. She then migrated to real competitive racing, if you like, with the Ferrari Challenge, and has absolutely cut adrift. Been awesome, absolutely awesome. She's a huge success story, lovely lady, and yeah, her talent was proven this weekend.
Oh, 100%. Just to briefly explain, blue means that the drivers hail from North America. That's where they race in their category. Doesn't make any difference for the World Finals, just an indication of that, and as you can see, she slots into P6, and I think that gives us a good moment to reflect on the fact that women being successful in racing in the Ferrari Challenge, it has become so normal for us because, you know, unlike in some other categories, we have the likes of Michelle Gatting, Dorian Pin, and our Shell champion in Europe this year,
Manuela
Gostner, and it's just, you sometimes forget how extraordinary it is in other categories, and it's just become the norm in the Ferrari Challenge, which is a testament to
us girls have to stick together, you know.
Yes, there you can see again the color codes on the screen before we get too much of a tangent. Europe in red, North America in blue.
I think that was prompted by you talking about it.
Possibly.
You lead, others follow. It's kind of been the case in my professional career, really, where all I've done is follow you.
Henrik Kemster had a good showing already this.
I'd have been a really good painter if that is.
This week, as Jan Salmon put his graphics on the board, because he just put in a purple first sector, which he will be going for a potential pole position. Sven Schirmer also improving, so we have that fight on 19 minutes plus whatever lap you're on. A little bit of a sideways moment there from Jan. I'm not sure if that was the quickest one, but he currently in P11, he will take any improvement for the moment.
Jan Sandman is a driver who actually is German, but he's based in the Middle East, and you and I met him when we ran a Middle East series in Ferrari a couple of years ago. And he announced that he was going to race in the Ferrari Challenge. He took part in that winter challenge, if you like, across Yas Marina, and I think in Dubai as well. And we could see then that he was always going to be a driver to be reckoned with. And he came into the Ferrari Challenge here in Europe, choosing to race his craft, if you like, in I think it's fair to say probably one of the most competitive regions of the Ferrari Challenge here in Europe, and he's been a force to be reckoned with as he goes from P11 to P3.
Absolutely. Charles Chen in the Sven Schirmer, Jan Salmon sandwich, and Henrik Kemster coming up on traffic. This is really something that will determine the outcome and the grid. Traffic, and just goes back to how much of a teamwork the Ferrari Challenge and motor racing in general is, because the team can tell you, ease off now, go for another lap when you will have more space in front of you. You know, if you're out there on your own, you are literally on your own, but you will come upon traffic and that will royally ruin your qualifying attempt.
Yeah, you're right. A driver coach almost acts as a spotter, doesn't he? You know, and says, right, ease off now, because that is going to give you the tarmac that you need to be able to set a clean lap. The order is Sven Schirmer from Charles Chan, it's Jan Salmon, Guy Favet, then it's Norikatsu, Shibata, Fritz Muller, Andreas Koenig, Pino Frascara, then it's Andrea Levy, and then Melissa Kozira, the best of the North American racers at the moment. And what region you come from is completely academic when it comes to the grid for this, the world final race, Finali Mondiali 2025 for our Copa Shell Am drivers. You join us for our qualifying session as we watch our European Copa Shell Am champion, and that is Sven Schirmer, doing a very, very good job here at the moment, although this lap is not going to be one to be reckoned with.
No, on the flip side, Jan Salmon, first sector extremely good, almost 7/10 to the good. Second sector held it together, pretty much the same speed as Sven Schirmer did, so he's more than half a second quicker through two sectors. So I'm sure that once Sven has finished his lap, we will pick up Jan Salmon, who is going for a potential provisional pole. And make no mistake, Sven Schirmer will be made aware of that. He now dives into the pit lane to regroup, maybe readjust pressures on his Pirelli P0s. Don't think that a tire change to slicks is possible or relevant, but Jan Salmon getting towards the timing line. A 2:10.367 becomes a 2:9.216. It's 1.1 seconds to the good for Jan Salmon. That was a blistering lap.
It was a blistering lap, and that has lain the gauntlet, if I may say, for Sven Schirmer and Norikatsu Shibata. And just look at this. If this was live, if this was on the last lap, then he was held just a little bit by Andrea Levy. He will feel that he's got some more speed and pace available to him. I don't actually know whether that was on the last lap, although there was one sector which wasn't quicker than anybody. It was only a personal best, so it is possible. Meantime, here is Shintaro Akatsu, the driver of the 115-296 Challenge car, driving for the Ainico Reparto Corsa Ram team, who have had some success here in Finali Mondiali, having crowned the Copa Shell champion with Manuel Agostna and having crowned the Trofeo Pirelli champion as well in style yesterday. I have to say, Trofeo Pirelli Championship charge has been something of an excitement, as Felix Herziger did finally nail it yesterday, and it went right to the last race, Nico.
Yeah, it absolutely did, and As you say, the team has been uber successful throughout the last few years. Also engineered Zoe Scrimpias last year to a championship and many other podium results. Shintaro Akatsu, he's one of those entertaining, enigmatic drivers that we see. He is listed as starting for Europe because he's done a lot of racing here in Europe, but not only here, but remember we also have a Japanese championship. And you can see for the moment he's on a fairly lowly P19.
Let's remember, Shintaro was on the podium in the first race at Monza this year, taking a P3, and deservedly so. Shintaro is a force to be reckoned with. This lap, personal best through Sector 1 and Sector 2. Is it going to trouble Jan Salmon and Sven Schirmer and Norikatsu Shibata? Don't think so, but you don't need to colour every sector purple to be in with a shout of taking the fastest lap time. And that's the one that is really critical, as we have now just 13 and a half minutes remaining in this qualifying session. We are qualifying for the Finali Mondiali races, which take place tomorrow. And wow, Shintaro Akatsu moves up, Nico, 16 places from P19 to P3. Forgive me, but that just reinforces what I was saying about, you know, personal bests can sometimes be enough to trouble those front runners.
Oh, 100%. And right now, I mean, even in P3, he's 3 seconds away from the Jan Salmon time. So that was just his very first bite at the cherry, if you will. So he's certainly going to go again with more speed. A few drivers have now come into the pits, including Sven Schirmer, which means the track is not at its peak in terms of being busy, so maybe a little bit less traffic out there, affording a better opportunity to do something about your times. But
Gabe Harib, I think, is now going to be released, and he's the car. Oh, I have to say, there are many that would look at that and think he knows what he's talking about. It's just sheer luck. Just as I said it, Gabe Harib left the pit lane and went out. I mean, come on. Come on.
Well called. So has Sven Schirmer, incidentally, also in his outlap. Alexei Komarov, P9, just starting a new lap. As we put picture in picture, Pino Frascaro.
And Mrs. Pino not driving the car. They are, I mean, we talk about enigmatic characters in the Ferrari Challenge. Mrs. Pino arrives in the paddock with a box full of chocolate.
Box? It's only the box?
Huge box. Yeah. And then distributes chocolate to just about everybody in the paddock. She is, and they are absolutely lovely, lovely people. Pino and Mrs. Pino. I really must take the trouble to find out Mrs. Pino's name.
I think
it's actually
prefers it that way.
It's kind of become something of a thing, hasn't it? Hello, Mrs. Pino.
It's a meme.
As
the young folks say.
Yes. What's that?
Alexei Komarov is not a meme. He is going about his racing, currently in P9 and doing a fairly good job. I think it's just worth to remember that, one small mistake, one little bit of traffic can be the difference between a front row start and a P15, because everybody is so equally matched.
And it's something that I was going to say earlier on, and I didn't get the opportunity to. This sport that we love, and the Ferrari Challenge, it can be beyond beautiful. Sometimes it can be brutal as well and really hurt you and bite you on the bottom. Because, there are things that happen of which, and that's part of the attraction for us as motor racing fans, that it is unpredictable sometimes.
Absolutely. Just looking back at Imola last year, produced quite some dramatic outcomes and races, and especially when the weather comes into it.
It was biblical. Eric Chung is here. I know you were talking about Eric Chung earlier. I can see from a camera feed into my studio, Eric Chung and Mrs. Chung, Corinne, they are here, which is really, really nice to see. So, you were mentioning only earlier Eric Chung, who was victorious last year, is here this weekend. So really nice to see. Hopefully we'll see a picture of them shortly on our feed, but we can see from our cameras in the studio that Eric and Corinne are here.
Yeah, rooting. They're on the pit perch and rooting for their drivers of Kessel Racing, for whom Eric traditionally takes part in the events.
I rather thought he was a Formula driver, but
sorry.
I might be wrong. I might be wrong. I mean, I'll never say.
Oh, yes.
Never say never, but Eric he's been a long-standing campaigner in the Ferrari Challenge, and Ah, there he is, Eric Chung. Racing royalty, I'm tempted to say, Nico.
Absolutely.
Hello, Eric. Great to see you.
Well, wish fulfilled, I dare say.
And there's Tor Qualman from Formula Racing right behind, but beside him. Now, Eric is a tall fella. Tor is even taller.
Well called there. Well, gets back on the script. 10 minutes.
Get on the script, Dave.
Remaining, there is Sven Schirmer. He, P2, you know, sometimes you say in P2 you're the first loser. I don't always subscribe to that, but Sven Schirmer will feel like nothing but P1 will suffice.
Oh, I think you're right. I think you're right. So it's Sam and Schirmer, Shibata, Charles Chan, Henrik Kamstrup, Fritz Muller, Andrea Levy, Shintaro Katsu, Boris Gideon. And then it is Yoneda who's rounding out the top 10 at the moment. So Sven Schirmer's going to go for it here. Be under no illusion. I'm not sure it's going to be this lap. It will be the next lap, I think. This is not going to be a push lap. I think this is a lap of installation, if I may say. And he will probably be up against more traffic on the next lap, because I can see, as there is Sven's wife looking on, and Andrea Gagliardini is centre picture. Now, Andrea Gagliardini is 50%, as he's looking at the track map there, doing exactly as you said, spotting where the traffic is. Andrea Gagliardini, I was going to say, is 50% of the driver coaching talent behind the success of Sven Schirmer. He has worked alongside Max Blancardi. If you could identify two more enthusiastic, passionate Italian racing drivers, you'd do well a bit to find two more enigmatic than those two, Max Blancardi and Andrea Gagliardini. My goodness me. Right, this is Michael Owens then for Ferrari of Alberta, driving the 303 car, who is currently running in P24. So we haven't yet seen the best of Michael Owens, and that's going to come potentially on this lap or maybe the next one. We had briefly a yellow flag, Nico. That's been rescinded, so credit to all the drivers out there in qualifying. In challenging conditions, they've been able to mix it well.
Absolutely, and we're now coming into the range where a red flag for a car beached in the gravel would really
muck it up.
Exactly, and now as we can see that Michael Owen goes past Sven Schirmer, who takes a really wide line, almost all the way into Borgo San Lorenzo on that turn.
Sven might get a bit of a draft off the back of the Owens car here, Nico. That might help him.
Absolutely, but now we're coming into the stage where all the drivers will give it their last, and that means that, you know, you just need one driver to exceeding that threshold, the limit, just a little bit, and beach the car. And
whoa, Boris Gideon with a sideways moment here.
And that was the yellow flag we saw just a few moments ago, I'm sure.
Change of direction and potentially underwear too.
And he just kept it out of the gravel, because that could have brought out that red flag that would certainly not get an invitation to on the Christmas card of any of the drivers. No one wants that to come into play. Jan Salmon with a purple first sector, stretching his legs once again. Boris Gideon, well, by dint of that spin, it's not going to be on this lap that he moves up the order, but he's going to go again.
And Sven Schirmer his sector 1 has not been where he would want it to be, relative to what Jan Salmon, but of course he's been involved in that. He had the yellow flag which prevented it. He had traffic as well. You saw there Andrea Gagliardini taking a look at the GPS track map to see who was where and where he can send Sven in terms of having tarmac ahead of him. Andrea Levy is currently P3, and Andrea Levy, who has been a race winner this weekend, has got Dr. Stephen Earle just ahead of him. And Jan Salmon, then his sector 2 was not a record breaker. It was still really quick, but it was not the best that he's done. That doesn't necessarily mean that this lap is not going to be an improvement, or as he's out on the painted lines, that will have cost him dearly around the final sector, that's for sure. Jan Salmon now is going to have to go again, because I don't think his 209, 219 is necessarily going to be bettered now. No, he lost less than I thought he would lose, to be honest, but he still lost time.
Definitely. Now he comes upon traffic, so, you know, probably this means that this lap is not going to be an improvement, but gives him the chance to regroup and go for it again. So who else is quick out there? Alexei Komarov is quick, and there again is that scene that you mentioned.
He did jolly well to keep it out of the gravel, let me tell you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Others, Guy Favre currently running in P4, good showing from him. Andrea Levy with an improvement, Alexei Komarov with an improvement. I mean, only the top 4 are within 2 seconds. So there, you could argue that there is a big range where even if you don't make it quite to the lofty heights of the Jan Salmon climb, you could still start the race on one of the 2 front rows. So Alexei Komarov currently in P10, he's still in play for that.
You're absolutely right. And Alexei Komarov, driver of the 199 car, engineered by Scuderia Prague Racing. Fantastic team who've had some success over the years, that's for sure. And of course, have had success this year with regards to the Trofeo Pirelli AM Championship, which they have won with their driver, Hendrik Vihol.
Absolutely, and have had their home race, very nice one. Brno,
yes.
Lovely place.
You're a big fan of the Czech Republic, aren't you? We've had some great times there, haven't we? With some interesting times as well, where if this was more boring than it is, we could tell you about our hotel manager being arrested just as we were turning up for breakfast. I mean, genuinely, there are some stories to tell about Brno and the Czech Republic, but save that for another day. Alexei Komarov then, with 3 minutes remaining, as near as makes no difference, on this qualifying session for our Finali Mondiali race. Let's go on board with Sven Schirmer. It's looking a little better, but it's still 3.5 tenths down on where Sven Schirmer needs to be, and he's never going to make that up in the final sector because, as you can see, traffic ahead of him, and he's bailed this lap.
Yeah, you could hear.
He's yapping, isn't he, on the radio?
Yeah, he was talking to his driver coaches about possibly track position, whether he was unhappy or whether they were just discussing what the strategy is for the last 500 meters of this lap or so. Certainly he is letting up, and then probably before those cars in the background arrive, he will give it a footful and go for another one.
Steady on, Andrea. He's vaulting himself over the pit wall there. Andrea Gagliardini, we could see. So, right. This is Boris Gideon, the driver of the 103 car for Autohaus Ulrich. And he's currently P9. And it is Sandman from Schirmer, from Chan, from Levy, from Favre. Nico, Guy Favre, it's a very, very good qualifying. He's kind of quietly gone about it here and put that car on P5. He should be very proud of that.
Yeah, Charles Chen just moved up the order. I mean, by virtue of having so many cars, we can't even give proper space and screen time to all the drivers.
No, Andreas Koenig, another one that in the closing stages of this has just put it on the 3rd row, potentially P6. Although he's now been dropped back 2 places, and that's everyone's moving at a terrific pace here. Hassan Debussy, very, very good qualifying from Hassan Debussy. He's now P7. He has Daniel Mancinelli in his ears, if you like, as his driver coach. Here is Guy Favre then, and Andrea Levy has just gone P2. So he's split Jan Salmon and Sven Schirmer. We've got about 1.25 minutes remaining in this qualifying session. Now, of course, Nico, once the cars have crossed the line, if you cross the line with any time left on the clock, you can complete that lap during a qualifying session.
Indeed, and expect the times to come tumbling down. Jan Salmon through 2 sectors, a second quicker than his previous pole. Sven Schirmer also quicker after 1 sector.
Here also very quick.
Henrik Kamstrup and many others, and there you can see split time, 6 tenths to the good. So this is heating up, but right there.
Mistake there from Sven. He may have cooked it. Can he recover? I think he really, really minimized the damage there in terms of just losing the front end of the car. He could recover this. Push, 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 push. You can hear from Andrea Gagliardini, his driver coach. So Sven Schirmer is certainly pushing here. This is potentially for pole position.
And he will have another shot after this. He will cross the timing line with something remaining, I believe. 8 seconds, 7 seconds, 6, 5. He will do it. He will have another shot. He will improve, but it's 7 tenths away. And he just made it with a few seconds remaining. So Sven Schirmer might go again. Henrik Kamstrup has moved up to P3, has seen the checkered flag, as has Paolo Scudieri in P5. But there are still lots of drivers out there on their final attempt.
He has got to go again. Sven Schirmer lost those 7/10 really. And here we can see in replay where he lost those 7/10. So watch carefully. There. Just had to put on some opposite lock. He lost more than 7/10 there. I was counting it mentally in my head. If he can get a clean lap in this time around, he should know that he's got the pace available to him to take P1. The question is he going to be able to deliver? The pressure is really on him now.
The first sector is a 1/10.5 away, but as we saw, that time lost was in a later sector, so there is still chances.
Here's Yoneda, personal best sector 1, sector 2 personal best is P7 at the moment for Yoneda. Then Masaru, who's been a real revelation this weekend here for Cornes Osaka. What is he going to be able to do as he rounds the Buccina turn, the final turn here? You can see the back end of the car just stepping out a little bit, but he controls it all perfectly. Once again, it let go. The wet weather tyres being really pushed now as the track is drying out, truthfully. As he crosses the timing line now, he improves 4 places because he'd been dropped back to P8, and then he improved and went up to P4. Schirmer has got traffic ahead of him. Looks like the Shintaro Akatsu car. I think it is Shintaro Akatsu who will not deliberately get in Sven Schirmer's way, but inevitably, because there is more traffic out there, Sven Schirmer is probably not going to get in the lap that he wanted, and sector 2 wasn't brilliant either.
He's still within range, and maybe he will get a little bit of a slipstream, which might actually help him down to the line. It's a long way, but no, he's
bailed it.
Oh, and careful, there is traffic from the right, because there is a shortcut coming in. And I'm sorry if you heard anything that you didn't want to hear there.
Yes, apologies for any colourful language.
P2 for Sven Schirmer, which is, as you heard, is not exactly what he was hoping for. Still with a good chance for the race tomorrow, but you can hear how much it means to him. I think if you want to paint it that way.
Yes, so the order is, as you can see on the left-hand side of your screen, Jan Sandman, Sven Schirmer, Andrea Levy, then it is Masaru Yoneda, ahead of Henrik Kamstrup, Norikatsu Shibata, and Paolo Scudieri. We will bring the full result to you in just a moment. Naturally, there no podium, of course. It's only a qualifying session, but I say only a qualifying session to set the grid for such an important race. As we can see, Fons Skeltermar there, who is one of our Copa Shell drivers, and he will be out with his qualifying session very, very soon. But that was the Copa Shell AM qualifying session.
Felt like a race.
It did. In the end, I mean, it was a very, very competent lap from Jan Sandman, a clear 7/10 ahead of Sven Schirmer. This is then our pole setter for the world final race. Is he going to be able to take the Gold Roof title? Jan Sandman. We're going to have to wait until tomorrow to find out. Huge well done to Gabe Harib, who I think was the best of the North America drivers in terms of qualifying for Ferrari of Atlanta. So whatever region you come from, we're all racing together when it comes to the Finali Mondiali event, and Jan Sandman has been the quickest of all of them. Here is confirmation then of who did what and where. Jan Sandman from Sven Schirmer, then it was Andrea Levy, Masaru Yoneda, Henrik Kamstrup, Norikatsu Shibata, Paolo Scudieri, Guy Favre, Charles Chan, and Gabe Harib, as I mentioned, is the best of the North American racers. Then it was Hassan Tabusi, good quali Hassan, Shintaro Akatsu, Boris Gideon, Fritz Muller, then Pino Frascaro, Andreas Koenig, Melissa Kozera, another stunning performance, Stephen Earle, Alexei Komarov, ahead of Maurizio Pittori, Alvaro Ramos, Michael Owens, Yasuhito Fuguai, Tom Petramalo, Alex Fox, Louis Peruscua, and no times from David Williams or Stephanie Herfield or Matthew Herfield. That's it for Copa Shell Am. The grid is set for their Finali Mondiali race. From Nico and from myself. Bye-bye for now.